know about the AIIP project, the Abia Industrial Innovation Park project. That is one of the things we want to use to demonstrate we want to use it to demonstrate how realistic that concept is. We are going to have a modular refinery operator start work there before the end of the year. Total Energies have signed up to do a recycling plant in the park. Before the end of the year, we are still doing paperwork with them. You know, they are signing off term sheets with us. But the agreement is that before the end of the year, they should start work. It's a 5,000 POPD modular refinery, and they are getting it from Hertz Holding. Hertz Holding, that's a Lumelu's company, is running the Imo River flow station, which is less than 500 meters away from us, where we are situated. So the understanding is that Hertz Holding gives them crude. They refine it there. I mean, it doesn't make sense that we continue to move our crude abroad. We should encourage more local refiners, you know, issue licenses to those that are refining in the bush to refine for Nigerians to consume. This is a big market. If you refine in Nigeria, you have 210 million Nigerians ready to buy your crude, your refined products. You see, so apart from corruption, if you ask me, there's no reason. There is no reason. It doesn't just make sense that we don't have the capacity to refine locally, you know. So yes, of course, I'm involved. You know, I don't get involved in projects that don't work. If you won't work, I will resign and I'll make it public. You understand? I've gotten these questions. You see, one thing I will need to let people know is this. The Engr economic city, I view it as a complementary effort and not it's not in competition with AIIP. And I also tell every stakeholder, everybody that is concerned, that is interested in learning more, I encourage the promoters of Engr economic city to continue on what they are doing, but we want to see action. It's been on paper for 7 years. AIIP was the groundbreaking happened 30th of September. I don't know whether you were there last year. It's less than 1 year, but I tell you that I have over 12 expressions of interest from multinationals, you know, that want to come in. But you know, there are a lot of processes that has to be taken care of first, and I can mention one of them: compensation of local community, host communities. You wouldn't want to go in there without adequately compensating the host communities. The second one, feasibility studies. You know, we're talking about a multinational major capital project. The feasibility studies started last year. We just got a draft from KPMG last week. So we are looking at it. In the next couple of weeks, max 2 weeks, we should have a final report out of feasibility study. But preliminary report shows very strong KPIs, strong indicators that will encourage investments. We're looking at an ROI of about 28%, you know, and I think payout of 7.8 years, you know. So I don't have all the figures off my head, but they are looking. The initial draft report looks very good for every other investor. Major companies or multinationals look at these figures before they take decision on where to go to. We've also observed a lot of. We've also recorded a lot of concerns from foreign investors, particularly. And there are concerns there are concerns over factors that are beyond our control as a state. For example, exchange rates. You know, the exchange rates, dollar-naira exchange rate is one of the major factors that investors look at. You see, I was telling someone in a session at Abuja that I prefer a Nigeria that exchanges dollar for 2,000 naira per dollar. As long as it's stable. You know what that does? People can plan. The inability for investors to plan is what is discouraging a lot of them. You can't have a dollar exchange for 1.5 today. Tomorrow, before you wake up, is 1.3. That's in the morning. Before evening, it's 1,450. And then next week. So you can't plan. And these are, if you have worked in corporations, multinational corporations, they need to trend your exchange rate over years to see whether it's stable or not. If we go at 2,000 per dollar, okay, look at how much we make. This is why we should go to this country. But where it is just jumping up and down, what it will signal to any investor is that these people are not serious for investments. So it's been a major challenge for us as a state. It's been a major challenge for us as a park, you know, because the industrial park is supposed to accommodate a lot of foreign companies. You know, that is why we are set up the AIIP project. The initial strategy and strategy changes as factors that are beyond your control changes. Our initial strategy was to be more focused on foreign investors. But when Tinubu came into office and things started rumbling, you know, we had to readjust our strategy to start looking inwards. You know, I think there are over $38 billion that is still within the economy that can be mobilized. I consider them idle funds. So one of the ways to bring them here is for our governor, Dr. Alex Oti, to continue to do what he's doing, so that story about Abia will continue to, you know, resonate on the minds of investors. The second thing we are actually working on is a free trade zone status, so that the Aba man can build a factory in AIIP, export without being taxed. Because if it assumes a free trade zone status, you don't need to pay tax for every product you're exporting. Then, thirdly, one other thing we are doing, we have a special zone for local manufacturers, because we were able to put the area manufacturers, you know, that produce shoes and all that into consideration. We have an area we call small scale industrial zone, massive. It will provide a lot, what you call lot, that allows you to produce at scale, and you are also able to warehouse what you produce to the tune of over 5 containers at a go, so that when you produce, because we are making arrangements for logistics too, when you produce, we can also be able to evacuate from AIIP to anywhere in the world, you know. So that's an incentive for our local manufacturers, because, you know, we are giving you power that will be reliable and affordable, you know. We are giving you infrastructure, making sure infrastructure in industrial park is top notch. We are giving you logistics support, so if you produce, don't need to bother about how to push it out. We make arrangements for off-takers, you know, help you take it and evacuate for you, you know. So those are incentives that we've lined up that will encourage local investors to come to the park. So, and I give credit to Dr. Alex Oti, you know, I give credit to him for coming up with a very innovative ownership structure of AIIP. And what we are working with is a big departure from what Engr Economic City had, and also most private public partnerships have in other parts of the country. AIIP is set up in a way that host communities have a stake and a seat in on the board. So so there's a percentage of AIIP that goes to the host communities. There's a percentage of AIIP that goes to I think 5% of AIIP is for who's. Government has, Abia government has a stake too, and then private sector, you know, has a stake. With regards to what we have for the host communities, apart from having a stake in AIIP, we also would give you right of first refusal at jobs. So what it means is that if there's any recruitment happening in AIIP or by AIIP, Okwa West man will be given right of first refusal. What it means, in other words, is if you don't have capacity, if you don't have any individual that has that capacity to fill that role, that is the only time it will go out there for the public to consider, you know. So the other things that we are also exploring is power. Although we are in a region where geometric is supposed to provide electricity, and you know, we have a 500 megawatt IPP project at AIIP, and two multinationals that are in the power space have reached out to us. We are working with them. We are talking with them to put the power generation system in AIIP. We are looking at getting gas from Total, you know, and then we will now have a session with Geometric so that all the permits, there should be a handshake, you know. So if we have power in AIIP, which is going to be 24/7 power, we can consider CR, that's a community, CSR, corporate social responsibility, to include provision of power to the immediate community, you know. So these are things that we are working on.